So, ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure to be moderator of this exciting panel. I think we have the most challenging panel of this summit because we will discuss how we can make this transformation process happening from existing energy supply system to renewable energy. And if you allow me, my panelists, to give some motivating slides, some introducing slides to start the discussion soon. If you allow me, I will start with some introducing slides. So, it shows on the screen. So as I mentioned to you, we have to discuss a very substantial change in our society in the next 30 years. An unbelievable change will happen. And I want to show you what aspects should be discussed. Yes. So, next slide, please. So, one item as KALYON, we have already a strong renewable energy owner. We have hydropower plants. We have about 1 gigawatt wind power plants in development stage. We are now building a 1.3 gigawatt solar power plant in Karapana, and we have a 1.2 gigawatt solar factory. So we are in this renewable energy field and also in manufacturing. Next, please. So one aspect which needs the transformation process to be happen is, of course, we need the products. How we can transform our energy supply system when we don't have the solar panels, when we don't have wind turbines. And I just want to show you our factory in Ankara, just as a quick snapshot. So we have established that 1.2 gigawatt panel factory, which is producing solar panels as a key product to make solar energy power plants. It's the largest in Europe and in the region, 1.2 gigawatt. And we have the full value chain to be independent from outside suppliers. We are making ingots, wafer, cell, module, because the supply chain and transportation will be discussed in our panel. Next, please. So the capacity I mentioned already, 1.1 gigawatt, we are producing different type of products. Next, please. And also very important, we need the talents to enable this transformation process. We need educated engineers, we need specialists. So in our case, and we need innovation. So in our case, we have established an R&D center inside our factory with about 100 researchers. So we have to talk about innovation. Next one, please. And also we have to train our people. We have to establish good engineers, good scientists to make the transformation process happen. So in our factory, we have established a solar academy, which is training students from all over Turkey and our own employees at the same time. Next, please. And then we have to materialize, if the factory is running, if we have manufacturing, we have to materialize it in the power plant. So that means our panels are shifted to 1.3 gigawatt power plant, which is the 5th largest in the world. And it's in Karapana. And that also, this energy, we are also having panels on our roof. So that means our solar energy is used to make solar panels. So we're using solar energy to make solar panels. So that is also an idea of green industry, green manufacturing. Next one. And this slide especially shows our challenges, our big challenges. That is a slide, a graph which was prepared by the International Energy Agency, and it clearly shows that in 2050, 90% of the global electricity should be from renewable energy. And as you can see on the left slide, most will come from solar and wind. So that means, you see, existing sources will decline based on fossil fuels, and the new renewable energy sources will come heavily. Next slide, please. But, you see the challenge, my friends. We have now installed, I'm focusing on wind and solar, we have now installed 1,000 gigawatt so far. I'm in solar since 30 years. I'm an old guy. So when I started, we were at 25 megawatt. Now we are at 1,000 gigawatt. A big improvement. But if you look, if we want to follow our global leader, which they mentioned at Glasgow, we have to keep global warming at 1.5 to 2%. That is our big leaders, global leaders' decision. But then we have to do it. But how to do it? As I said to you, all 30 years, 1,000 gigawatt installed. Now, to make our big leaders scenario happening, we have to install every year 1,400 gigawatt of new renewable energy sources, especially solar and wind, globally. Can you imagine what we did in 30 years, now we have to do every year to reach that 90%, 80% goal. Can you imagine, my friends? Crazy. So that means we have to move capacity, we have to build factories, we have to build power plants like machine guns. And I'm so happy that I have my distinguished panelists together with me, because my friends, how we can do it. We will talk about each detail in this panel. It's a huge challenge. And I want to say to you, I believe, perhaps my panelists might agree or not agree, I believe this is the most difficult challenge, transformation process as a global duty. In the past, England did something, Germany did something, USA did something. Now it's a global challenge to change first electrical energy supply system from to 90% renewable energy. Number one, globally. Second, mobility has to be changed into green fuels. Second challenge, transportation. Third, industrial sector, green fuel have to come. We cannot use any more coal, oil, gas, and so on to produce our products. Green fuels is a demand. Industry sector has to change. And we just have 25 years left. We have just 25 years left. So I think, my friends, my panelists, let us start into the panel discussion to see how we can do it. And what is your idea? I want to listen to you. Thank you. So, I think you are the most distinguished experts what we have in the sector in Turkey and also outside. So my first question, one by one, would be, perhaps we can start perhaps with you, so Mr. Sinan, as a Solo Energy boss. What is your idea? What is your perspective on this tremendous transformation process? What do you see as a future in the energy supply globally in Turkey? So I want to listen to your perspective, to your vision.
Thank you. Maybe I can stop here so that, you know.
Thanks a lot for your very good introduction and motivation of the challenges. So perhaps I want to move to our distinguished guest from Bulgaria. I think we can listen to him because he is Mr. Panichev. Sorry, my pronunciation. I'm not good in Bulgarian language yet. You are the executive director of Trakya Economic Zone, which is one of the largest in Europe. And I think it would be wise to listen to our friend from Bulgaria, how we can establish such a huge manufacturing cluster, and what is your perspective, how to make green production, how to set up big factories, based on your experience in Bulgaria. We want to listen to you. I think that is very also interesting information that you are, as you said, you are the general manager of a huge industrial zone, that your clients, your producer, they are now pushing you to make the factory step by step. You even mentioned 10 years only to 100% carbon free. I mean, all the energy should come from solar or from wind or whatever. That is very interesting news. So that means the industrial sector already sensitized for this type of transition. That is also very good news. So perhaps if you don't mind, I want to move over to our next panelist, Mr. Mortensen. I think you might also give us a little bit your perspective of this transformation process and especially what the governments and what the society can contribute, please. Thanks a lot. I think it also gives a good example from the north of Europe, where there is no sun but a lot of wind, as compared to Turkey, where there is too much sun sometimes in summer and not enough wind. Thanks a lot for sharing your interesting perspective. And I also, of course, I want to invite Mr. Yildiz from Kiba, the channel manager of Kiba Energy, to give your perspective on the discussion. Of course, you have one leg also in the traditional energy as a Kiba Energy, but especially we want to know what is your perspective on renewable energy and the transformation. Thanks a lot. I think it's a good idea because it touches another aspect of this discussion, of this big transformation, apart from do we have the capacity, how we integrate it, how the government can support, how it should be subsidized. Because there's one more aspect which I want to discuss with you, if you allow me, is the renewable energy transition, which takes so fast in such a big scale. It should be affordable for the people. The energy price should not jump up. Second, it should be reliable. There should not be power crashes, the grid should not become unstable, and it should be socially acceptable, because wind turbines, some people don't like to see it. Solar panels everywhere, people don't like to see it. So we have this sustainable development goal as G7, and I want to discuss about this aspect, how we can make this transformation process social accepted, how we can make it reliable and sustainable. If one of you want to comment, perhaps Mr. Sinan, if you have some idea, or somebody, how we can make this transformation process acceptable by our people, by the citizen. First, okay. If somebody want to comment, for example, on the reliability, because we need energy digitalization. I think digitalization can help to master all these scattered small power plants on roofs in small villages. So I also want to listen to the digitalization, perhaps Mr. Sinan, if you have an idea. Thank you. Mr. Yildiz, you also have a comment on the sustainability and affordable and reliable energy discussion. Thank you. And also I invite you to make a comment. Good. I think before we are leaving for lunch, because I see some of you are already very hungry and have a strong appetite, and I know in Turkey lunch is important and dinner is important and breakfast is also important, I know. I'm German. So I want to invite if you allow me, our panelists, I want to invite also our audience to raise questions to us. Is there any questions? Please, there is one. Just a moment. Either you speak very loud or we have to wait for the microphone. I will listen to you. Oh. They're coming.
First of all, you have to take into consideration which is Turkish electricity distribution facility has been totally privatized some years ago. For that reason, small investors cannot easily make some investments to produce energy. Even for their small villages, in the case of Denmark, the speaker explained something about the production of energy from wind power. Yeah, that means you have to consider the reality that the Turkish electricity distribution facility is totally privatized.
Thanks.
Okay. If you allow me to make a comment on this specific question on the manufacturing of panels and solar products. First of all, we can say we have a very sharp decline of the energy impact to produce a panel. So when I started my career, we used about, we can say, 7 times more as we are using now. So now the energy we need to produce panels as one aspect of sustainability in the production of panels is now we are needing just 0.6 years of putting the panel, the energy harvesting from the panel as we need for the production. So after 0.6 years, these panels are in the sunshine, we have all the energy back to produce it. That is one aspect. And now we have very serious auditing happening, especially from European clients. They want to see the CO2 carbon footprint of our solar panels. So they're sending auditors to our Ankara factory, checking every detail. How much glass we're using, how much foil you're using, how much energy we are using. It's very accurately monitored and reported. And if you're above a certain CO2 carbon footprint, you're not allowed, for example, to install panels in France. It's impossible. So I can really say, in our factory, we have very strong recycling measures. For example, you know, we are making these wafers, we are cutting from big crystals wafers, and all this silicon is recycled. We have one of the highest recycling rate of this silicon in all the sector. For example, in China, the recycling rate is average 38% recycling rate percentage. In Ankara, in our factory, we have more than 42. And 44 is a maximum you can recycle all the silicon. So that means, driven that we are in a sustainable sector, like energy usage to produce our panels, like CO2 carbon footprint, like waste reduction. This is taken very serious in this sector, and you believe me, this sector is, especially European producers, Turkish producers, are taking care. Asian producers, I cannot say, most likely not so much, but Western producers are taking care, trust me. So I think if there's no more questions and no final remarks from the panelists, I think we can close this session. I think it was a fruitful discussion and very exciting discussion. I thank all the panelists, including myself, for this interesting discussion, and thanks a lot and enjoy your lunch.